And when we whoop enough ass, everybody gonna get in line and do right. All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, family. Welcome to the program. Welcome, Twin Pyramid. Welcome, Sister Sheila. Welcome, Deacons of Reality. Welcome, everybody to the program. Tonight, we are talking about this replacement theory, this illegal immigration, these immigrants coming to America and taking things that do not belong to them. But one question has to be dealt with, because I believe it was Franklin who said that nothing happens in politics by accident. No, it wasn't Franklin. It was Roosevelt. Roosevelt said nothing happens in politics by accident. It is all done on purpose. So we're going to get into here and see whether or not this thing that's going on right now in such big numbers, is it an accident? Is it on purpose? What's the deal? Let's get real down to it, because it affects each and every one of us. We want to welcome Earth Angel 1105 Remix. Welcome. We want to welcome Brother Emil to the program. Welcome. All right. And our awesome panel, we have Sister Cassie and we have Doc. Sister Cassie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, family. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well. I am Cassie, and I am the co-owner, co-founder of Realm in the Bush, and I am an author of a book called A Mother's Love, and that's me, and ready for the fight.
That's right, Sister Cassie, ready for the fight, because there is no sidelines. In this fight, there is no sidelines. We're talking about our freedom. We're talking about our liberation. We're talking about our future. We're talking about our children. Welcome, Doc. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Doc?
Yes, sir. I am in transition. I was getting ready to actually open up my blinds that I've had to keep closed. As you can see by my collar, it is still about 100 degrees here in Houston, Texas. So either I try to block the sun out by closing the blinds, and then it's going to be dark in here, or I'll open the blinds and let a little heat up in here. So I'm going to sacrifice for y'all, and I'm going to go and open the blinds so y'all don't think that I'm in a cave. So, all right, glad to be here with you guys.
Yes, sir. Definitely. And we also want to welcome Mellow Cap. Welcome, Mellow Cap. Peace and blessings. Welcome to the building. All right, so we're talking about this illegal immigration situation and this replacement theory where you have white boys running around saying, you will not replace us. You will not replace us. The reality of what's going on, even when you look at just leaving immigration alone and just dealing with, the white boys talking about, you will not replace us. Jews will not replace us. When you're in an environment where your time is up, you have no choice but to be replaced. That's the reality of it. You have no choice but to be replaced. Sister Cassie, when you hear that, where they're talking about, you will not replace us, and this overall replacement theory, what are your thoughts on that?
They scared. They already see it. They know that they're done. And I am so excited that it won't be long. I got my popcorn and I'm waiting, because I cannot wait not to look at just one of them. I'm sick of looking at them. I'm sick of hearing from them. I'm sick of their stupidity. And I'm telling you, they know what's going on. And they scared. Because they can see it. They see it. They know that they're not reproducing. They know that they have to use our Black men and women to reproduce for themselves. They see it. They ain't no dummies. And now they'll try to gaslight you and act like they don't see it. But it's right there in their face, so you can't see it. So that's why they saying it so talking. But it don't matter how loud you say it. It is already been written that he said that you're done. And it's our chance now. So black folk rise. This is your chance. This is your opportunity. Period. I rest my mic.
Definitely. Thank you, Sister Cassie. Doc, what's your thoughts on that?
You know, the whole thing, and we've been doing this for years, so I know that you know this about me, that I used to be a fellow at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in DC. And that chant of "You will not replace us," that is undoubtedly a chant of the National Socialist Party, also known as the Nazis. And it flows from the propaganda, the idea that Adolf Hitler is not talking about the German suffering in the post-World War I period all the way up through World War II. He's not talking about the Treaty of Versailles. He's using propaganda to blame basically the Semi-Roma, the Gypsies, and the Jews. And so it's historically groundless, but it nonetheless served as a rallying call for these young German males who, you know, before long, you know, you had the order for them to leave. And then you're going to have Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. These young German hooligans were following a script that had been created that they didn't really understand. And I would argue that these white boys that we see chanting these things, for me, if you understood the history of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis and their idea of world domination, it is foolish, because the American so-called Nazis were not going to be saved if Adolf Hitler had won. He was going to kill them as well. So the whole idea that you will not replace us, it's an old rallying call that actually has no historical basis and really means nothing when you really break it down to its very last compound. And I yield, brother.
Excellent. Thank you, Doc. So even when dealing with that, what Doc is talking about, and understanding that, I would say, you know, this is me, that the Nazis and the Americans, them white folks are all the same. There is no difference. I believe that the American look up to the Nazi because they had a theme of white is right and the perfect Aryan and all this bullshit. And then the white man here in America believed into that same old lie. Now, I believe a big difference is that the cracker here understood the reality that if we were given an even playing field, they could not match us. They could not beat us. So they had to use the power that they had to keep us in a certain box so that we could be continuously used by them and controlled by them, you know, forever. Whereas over in Germany, they over there decide we gonna get rid of them. We gonna get rid of them. We gonna get rid of them. Now, it's not talked about that the blacks that were in Germany over there, they suffered worse than the Jews. But they didn't get no reparations. The Jews don't even bring them up and say, hey, what about these over here that suffered, you know, just like we did? They really suffered worse. They don't never get a mention. Never get a mention. But we have to be able to look at that and understand. And when we get further into this, dealing with the illegal immigration, a lot of people like to tie the Jew, the fake Jew, into our struggle and make it seem like we're one and the same. Make it seem like their plight is our plight is their plight. When the reality is, that ain't true. When the reality is that they played a part in our enslavement as well. Their hands are not clean. Their hands are not clean when it comes to slavery. Their hands are not clean when it comes to the projects that we live in, the substandard housing, the low job. Their hands is intermixed into there. They're no free ride for them. They're not our ally. They're not our friend. But they try to hide their dirty hand while attempting to play to be our friend. Why is it you think, Sister Cassie, when it comes to what our people suffered in Germany, that's quietly, that's hidden, that's not even on the radar?
So you know what? You have to understand that America has been paying for some that's not even happened in America. Why? That's not be freezing up, you guys. Could you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you.
Maurice, can you guys hear me?
Yes, you're frozen, but we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear
I'm sorry,
you.
my phone. I'm gonna have to get on my phone, I think. Okay, but see, you have to understand. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna have to probably get on my phone. My computer's slow, so it's okay. But we have to understand they're paying. America's paying them for a secret. They know who we are. They know what they've done, and now they're trying to hide behind. It's the Arabs also. Let's not forget the Arabs, okay? Because the Arabs had a whole lot to do with all of this too, because that's where it started. People have to understand why this is why things are happening the way it's happening. America's paying them to be quiet because what did Hitler say? Hitler said as soon as they find out who the real Jews are, that it's going to be World War III, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think she froze.
Yeah, Sister Cassie, you froze up again. Sister Cassie, are you done?
I'm going to go out and come back in. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to go out and come back in.
Okay, perfect. Doc, what say you about that, the hiding of the real history?
Well, I mean, the thing is out of, and I wrote a piece about this years ago, where I was addressing many of the people who hurl hatred at the Jews, at the Jewish community, and the title of it was something about "Don't hate, emulate."
Mm-hmm.
And my point with that was quite simply, they not only embrace, but they also promote their suffering. So much to the point where if I'm on a panel discussion and someone mentions the word Holocaust,
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's my duty for clarity and also to illuminate some of the minds to ask them, which Holocaust are you talking about? Because there is a natural coupling of the term Holocaust, which is the mass systematic genocide of people, with the Jewish people, as if they have a trademark of it. But what I will say, I guess what I'm trying to get around to saying is quite simply that where Black children become nervous, put their heads down, and really adults as well, at the mention of slavery, they're ashamed of slavery, as if that is their sin, as if they own that sin. The Jews don't do that. They've embraced their story, and like I said, I was there with them. Was treated well. Was able to go behind the scenes and look at their archives, the things that the public will never be allowed to see. And I left out of there with an awesome feeling as a historian. And anyone who's any great historian has to be, a prerequisite for being a great historian is to be a great storyteller. I was awed by how they tell their story. They tell their story so well that there isn't a dry eye that, when they come out of engaging the display of how they lay out their facts. Um, their message is that they're blameless in regards to what happened, not only there but everywhere else around the world. Um, they are in many ways, the eternal perfect victim. It's impressive, and I mean it's very impressive, and it's so impressive that in a nation where we're constantly we just averted a 45-day pause to a government shutdown, but no one talks about the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars that the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum receives from the U.S. government. No one talks about the fact that if you really think about it, and if you present it to people in a different light, it's kind of that a time to kill moment with Samuel L. Jackson, where the lawyer asked people to close their eyes and then pretend that the victim was white. If you were to talk about the United States government giving money to Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, any place except for into the hands in support of the Jews, Americans would be rioting in the streets because their suffering, let's be very clear. And I'm certainly not trying to be, I don't want to be labeled as an anti-Semite, but their suffering did not occur on this soil. And yet the United States government still pays for the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum's operating budget and also paid reparations. What are you paying reparations for? The truth of the matter is that you're paying reparations because of the persuasiveness and probably a host of other reasons to those people. So in many ways, like I said, we can learn a lot from them if you're talking about being persuasive, because they are persuasive. That story, if you ain't careful, that story will get you, make you want to put a yarmulke on top of your head and start speaking their language. So Yiddish, so in many ways, that's kind of how I look at that. I look at it from the standpoint of their propaganda machine is unparalleled. Nobody's been able to do, what it is that they do. Maybe Killer Ray Lewis's PR people can rival them, by being able to get him some endorsements after that trial. But by and large, yeah, when you talk about being persuasive in forming the argument and how the world's going to view you, they reign without a rival. And I yield, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doc. And that's a great point that you bring about, that they tell their story damn near perfectly.
Yeah.
They tell it damn near perfectly.
Yeah. Damn near shit perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the, and kudos to them, because every group should be attempting to do that. To use what was the old pimp saying, use what you got to get what you want. Yeah. Because in many ways, that history of what happened to Germany and why the Germans were so aggressive, not just to the Jews, but also to the Semi-Roma, and especially to that populace that we rarely talk about, the Rhineland bastards. The Rhineland bastards, when Adolf Hitler is executing his T4 experiments, which is the purification of the gene pool, the Rhineland bastards are an enigma. They're healthy German citizens, but they're part African. And what we see Germany meticulously do is sterilize those people.
Mm-hmm.
We never talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Just as we rarely talk about the ghastly experiments of Joseph Mengele. We don't talk about those things, and it leads to a truly a whitewashing of world history, because quite simply, you you end up and you end up laying all the blame for what occurred in Germany at the feet of one Adolf Hitler, and nothing could be further from the truth. That there's so many conspirators, so many people who are associated with what occurred, that it's stupefying, to be honest with you. But and also, and let's be clear, we're talking about the Jewish Holocaust and the after effects of it. The most sought after individuals in the wake of World War II were German scientists, because they were, they were the shit. And when you look at the insignia of BMW, that's the last homage that German scientists have. They were never going to be allowed again to make jet engines, and so that BMW symbol that you see is, actually a white propeller going around a blue sky. That's their last. Their scientists were incredible, And when you just listen to commercials, they always make a point when they're talking about cars. They call them what? German engineered,
Mhm.
because they were head and shoulders above everybody else, you know. And I yield, brother.
All right. Thank you, Doc. Sister Cassie, did you want to add anything to that?
No, he did good. That's good.
Excellent. I want to take this opportunity to welcome the forecast to the program. We want to welcome Mayette to the program. And we want to welcome Brother Willie Rivers to the program. Peace and blessings, everyone. We are definitely glad you are here. And so when we look and understand that what the fake Jews went through was only for 12 years. Am I correct on that, Doc? It was only 12 years, right?
Well, I mean, if you're going to start the clock with the rise of Nazism, yeah. But if you're talking about the operation of death camps, Dachau, Auschwitz, all these different places, it's not 12 years. It's not 12 years of killing, not at all. And you have to also remember that, to be fair to the United States government, their documents, all they have are aerial photos of Germany, and all they can tell you is that Germany's laying down a hell of a lot of railroad track, and these railroads are all leading to these humongous structures that no one knew what they were. And the very first death camp that was discovered, and this is sort of the irony of history, that very first death camp that they found, they were celebrating because they thought that they had found the gas and oil reserves of Germany. And it's only after going in that they're going to find evidence of what I refer to as the Mengele footprint, evidence of mass extermination. But it's a different thing, that it did happen. You get what I'm saying? I've been there, and I can tell you that probably the greatest lesson that can be learned from that era is quite simply that there are no depths that the human spirit will not go to destroy other humans. Because if you go to Dachau, they were gassing them in the showers, and you find these little slits these slits that are on the showers, glass where you can actually look in. And those glass slits were actually there because SS officers were actually betting in regards to who would be the last to die. So you're talking about hell on earth, when you begin to talk about what occurred to them. However, it is just a wrinkle in time when you consider the fact that the African Holocaust began in the 1500s.
Mhm.
And a strong argument can be made that it hasn't stopped yet. So you're talking about centuries of suffering versus less than a decade.
Mm. Wow.
Yet they still get more sympathy for what they went through than
Mhm.
what we do.
Exactly.
People in this nation are calling for us to be killed to this day.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Doc, for setting that straight and putting a good understanding on that. Now, last night in our discussion, we were talking and you used your good friend Thomas Jefferson.
Oh
And
man, come on, man.
yes,
Come on,
yes,
man.
your good friend, your buddy, buddy, buddy.
Jefferson is our founding father. And I gotta take issue with you trying to malign Thomas Jefferson. The reason Jefferson didn't free those enslaved Africans, one, Sally Hemings apparently has some good stuff. Second reason is Jefferson said he didn't want to set them out there where they would have to deal with the whys of and the uncertainty of being black in a hostile white nation. But go ahead, man. Go ahead with what you're getting ready to say that's wrong about Jefferson.
Now, your best friend, Thomas Jefferson.
I admire Jefferson.
Would you say that he was a
Careful
what
now.
do you call when you can see into the future?
A visionary.
Yeah, was he a visionary? Did he have a special globe that he saw what was going to happen in America?
Certainly not. Certainly not.
Oh.
If Jefferson had his way, we'd still be in Monticello, picking cotton and working for him. And he didn't. Jefferson's probably turning over in his grave that this Negro got nerve enough to even mention my name in public, let alone Sally.
We're going to look at. I'm going to share screen. This thing right here, and this is from your good buddy Thomas Jefferson, who I still think should be hanging from a tree. But I want us to look at his words because to me, when I first read this, I meant to take it as
before you go forward. I told you. I don't know if I told you. I used to be a fellow at Monticello.
No, I didn't know that. I knew about the Jew place, but I didn't know about Monticello.
Yeah, man, I was a fellow at Monticello. I was supposed to be there for 2 years. They sent me back to the airport in 2 days. Said that they took my money, took my grant money, took everything. Said that I had asked an inappropriate question before in front of a tour guide, in front of a tour group. I had just gotten there. It was literally my first full day there, and I thought it would be cool if I took a tour. I'm gonna be here for 2 years. Let me see what we got. So I went on this tour, and when you go to the basement, go down Monticello, go inside the big house, you'll find that Jefferson could be anywhere on that plantation without walking out the front door. He never had to leave the front door. Okay, so for all you knew, Jefferson was at home the entire time. But he has tunnels everywhere. And the question that I asked, very simple question. I didn't mean no harm, white folk. What's the winter like here in Virginia? And the lady, knowing that I was from Ohio, said, "Oh, it's very mild for you. You know, mild. You know, it's not like Ohio. This." I said, "Okay, so why did Jefferson have all these tunnels? If it wasn't too cold to go outside, do you think that he was sneaking and hiding and going somewhere that he didn't want nobody to know?" Yeah, that was enough. They sent that brother, that ruckus looking brother, you know, with my suitcase and put me in the back of a car and drove without saying anything, drove me straight to the airport. That was it. And that brother roughly dropped my suitcase on the ground and put an airline ticket in my hand. That was it. Yeah.
Wow.
I tried. I told him I admired Jefferson. That's how I got the fellowship.
Oh, wow. So they thought you was gonna be their nigga.
You know, man. Well, you know, I was in grad school at the time, man. You know, and that grad school stipend only $800. And you know, Monticello got long money, just like them Jews at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. Long money, brother. Look here. I ain't never stayed no place like they had me up here. You know, I went outside to show you how exclusive the area I was in near Georgetown was. I went outside at night, and somebody called the police on me.
Oh,
and they escorted me back to the hotel, and it took the concierge to tell them, no, he's staying here. And they told me, they said, look, when you come out, don't put no hoodie on no more.
Wow.
Yeah, they got money. They got long money, brother. Long money.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this. So this is from Monticello. And this is some things that Jefferson was writing, and it really fits into what we're discussing tonight. So it says that Jefferson's belief in the necessity of ending slavery never changed. From the mid-1770s until his death, he advocated the same plan for gradual emancipation. First, the transatlantic slave trade would be abolished. Second, slave owners would improve slavery's most violent features by bettering, Jefferson used the term ameliorating, living conditions and moderating physical punishment. Third, all born into slavery after a certain date would be declared free, followed by total abolition. Like others of his day, he supported the removal of newly freed slaves from the United States. The unintended effect of Jefferson's plan was that the goal of improving slavery as a step toward ending it was used as an argument for its perpetuity. Pro-slavery advocates after Jefferson's death argued that if slavery could be improved, abolition was unnecessary. Jefferson's belief in the necessity of abolition was intertwined with his racial beliefs. He thought that white Americans and enslaved blacks constituted two separate nations who could not live together peacefully in the same country. Jefferson's belief that blacks was racially inferior and incapable as children, coupled with slaves' presumed resentment of their former owners, made their removal from the United States an integral part of Jefferson's emancipation scheme. Influenced by Haitian's revolution and of the aborted rebellion in Virginia in 1800, Jefferson believed that America's slave deportation, whether to Africa or the West Indies, was an essential follow-up to emancipation. Jefferson wrote, maintaining slavery was like holding a wolf by the ear, and we could neither hold him nor safely let him go. He thought that his cherished federal union, the world's first democratic experiment, would be destroyed by slavery. To emancipate slaves on American soil, Jefferson thought would result in a large-scale race war that would be as brutal and deadly as the slave revolt in Haiti in 1791. But he also believed that to keep slaves in bondage, with part of America in favor of abolition and part of America in favor of perpetrating slavery, keep slavery going, could only result in a civil war that would destroy the Union. Jefferson's later prediction was correct in 1861, and the contest over slavery sparked a bloody civil war and the creation of two nations, Union and Confederacy, in the place of one. Now, as we're dealing with that, where Jefferson predicted a race war, a bloody race war, if blacks stayed here in America, and he also predicted a civil war if slavery would continue. Jefferson also wanted immigration to be whereas other whites could come into America and leave where they're feeling persecuted because America was the only home of true freedom for white folks. Mm-hmm. So he wanted them to come into America, to become Americans, to leave off what they grew up in their home country, to leave that there, come over here and be true Americans, to be mixed in this melting pot, and that you're no longer Irish, you're no longer British, you're no longer whatever part of the world you came from that white. Now you come to America and you become American. So we're looking at three different aspects of Thomas Jefferson's thinking, which one part of the three has already come to fruition, which was the Civil War. We're living in the part where the immigration, just a little differently, because the main people that are immigrating, to my understanding, and Doc and Cassie, if y'all feel different, y'all can show differently, that there are not as many white folks coming to America as there are Mexicans and El Salvadorians and, you know, all of these other folks that's coming to America. So to deal with just that part for right now, what are your thoughts on what we've just went over? And whoever want to jump in first, feel free. Just Cassie, you want to go first?
Oh, sure. Well, you know what I see. He's not the only one that thought the way he thought. Most of those white folk thought the same way about black folk. They thought we taught them, and then they turned around and tried to become our teachers. How does that happen? He was disgusting. Just the way they think is sad, because they think that we're nothings, and we're the one that built all of this. But you calling us savages. You calling us, you're thinking that you're better than us. But yet, when we raised our children weren't savages. They didn't think, they don't blow up schools. They don't shoot up schools. I'm looking at the way that the culture is today, and how everybody that's coming in this country, yes, they're immigrants, but white folk consider them white. They're trying to, because there's no white folk. You're Ukraine, you know, you got Ukraine, Afghanistan, you got all of that, but they're still considered white. So they're trying to stack their deck as those immigrants are coming in. And it's all about trying to get rid of black folk.
trying to get rid of the vote. That's what it's all about. It has nothing else to do with anything else. And all of them think, well, just like what you were saying about Thomas Jefferson, they all think that about us. Big deal. We have to understand what's really going on, even today. Even today, what's really going on? What are they putting in place? What they're putting in place is what they're trying to do is hurt Black people. But we have to wake up and understand what's really going on today. What's the real culprit? What are they really doing behind the scenes? And Black folks seem to fail to realize these people are dangerous. They are not your friends. I don't care how they look and they smile at you. We all know we're two different type of people. We're nothing like them. But it's hard not to be colonized and act like your colonizer. But we better wake up, because this thing is crazy. It's really dangerous, because I'm looking at things where we had monopolized. And now I'm looking at them like, you don't see Black folk anymore. What's going on? But Black folk don't seem to be concerned about that. We seem to be more concerned about them being okay. We're doing what we always do, worry about everybody else but us. But we better wake up. I rest my mic.
Thank you, Sister Cassie. Doc?
Yeah, could you reload the question for me again?
Yeah, so based off of what I read and dealing with that, there was three things. There was the Civil War, which has happened. The second thing was the war between the races of Black and white. The third thing was this immigration, and he wanted to bring more whites over and have them forget that they're Irish, forget that they're Britain, and be just Americans. But instead, the way I'm looking at it, I think that we're having more Mexicans, Guatemalans, Venezuelans, all of these types that are illegally coming into America versus the white immigrant that Jefferson was trying to get. What are your thoughts
about the immigration issue?
About the immigration issue and his vision of seeing a civil war and saying that there will be a war between the races of Black and white and the immigration.
Okay, dealing with Jefferson, what I would say, I'll deal with the war between the races. Jefferson was wrong in regards to that. And once again, I don't look at Jefferson as a visionary, being able to look 2-3 centuries beyond his time. So I don't see him as having envisioned that. What Jefferson was, he's a man of his time. And when we're talking about the abolition of slavery, the initial founding fathers' idea was actually to keep the institution of slavery going, yet they were going to repatriate free Black folk. And the place where the free Black folk were going to go, it was actually, it's been carved out for them, is Liberia. They were trying to send us to Liberia. And you got to remember, James Monroe, Manifest Destiny, that white folks say gave them the right to spread from the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the Pacific Ocean. The capital of Liberia is Monrovia, named after James Monroe. They were trying to send us back there. But now to focus in on the idea of what he envisioned or desired immigration-wise, when you're talking about the colonies, and this was one of the biggest needs for the colonists and for the colonies to be able to get up and run, they needed numbers because they had a natural enemy, the indigenous population here. They needed numbers. And when you look at what Britain is actually doing with the Stamp Act, with the Townsend duties and what have you, that's for, they're pressuring them to repay for the French Indian War that they came and they fought on behalf of the colonists. So immigration in numbers is a major thing. But when you're talking about present day, once again, Jefferson couldn't have imagined what's going on right now. I don't think anyone could have imagined, even all the way back in the 1950s and 1960s, what's actually occurring right now with the flooding of this nation of brown folk. And keep in mind, and this is, if you look very closely at the coverage of the immigrants in New York City that our illustrious governor, Greg Abbott, has put on buses and sent up into your region. I heard that they got a couple bus loads getting ready to hit up in Philly. So get ready. If you got room at home, go ahead and volunteer a bedroom or something to them. But you're not just seeing brown folk, you're seeing Africans as well. And one of the things that we haven't been able to figure out, I don't know if these are, I know they're not Caribbean black folk. These look like continental Africans who are crossing the border along with Mexicans, Guatemalans, and everybody else. So Jefferson would be aghast at what's going on right now, because what they consider to be the birthright of their children and their children's children and their children's children's children has been taken away from them. And in a nation, a representative democracy that says one man, one vote, you're going to eventually lose to brown folk. And I yield.
Thanks, Doc. When we stop and think about what Jefferson wrote, and what is one thing that I do look at, and I don't take it for granted, is that the hatred between white and black, or rather I should say the hatred of black people by white folks, the more and more we continue, the more and more the reality that black people have to come into the understanding of is there's no getting away from them without a fight. And that's something that we gotta be able to hold on to and understand really quickly, that it's going to come down to a battle. It ain't a misspeak. We did the program yesterday about abuse of authority, and to make sure that especially black men understand that you can't give them authority over you. You need to take your authority back, because not only do they do these things to you in the public, we just learned about the torture centers that they had in Louisiana, that the police was doing to black people in Louisiana, and this was the same shit that they were doing at the black site in Chicago, doing that to black people. And so these are the same demons that you give authority over yourself to, and expect that they're not going to kill you, and expect that they're going to treat you good when their whole history is against you. And we better wake up and understand that reality is real. It ain't a joke, it's real. That they would rather see you dead than to see you breathe. I mean, just the statement alone, just think about it. The statement alone, Black Lives Matter. The statement alone is offensive to them. Just the statement by itself is offensive to them. We better wake up to the reality that it is either they gonna kill us or we gonna kill them. And that's just the way it is. That's real. The fight is real. And with this influx of immigrants that's coming in Chicago, they're going to make them police officers. Make them police officers. And we're supposed to sit back and let that happen? We cannot allow this. You're going to now give a goddamn immigrant who ain't even a citizen authority over you, that you got to listen and do what they tell you, or what? See? We're showing you the connection, because this is happening in our time. in real time. This ain't a game. This is real life. Your children's lives, our lives are on the line, and it's giving authority to people who don't even like you, who don't even know you. Or they see you less. They see you less than. And we got to come up out of this slumber. We got to come up out of the slumber and take charge. Take charge. Now, what is it going to take for you to be able to say, I'm going to take charge? Things have to be turned, and it has to be turned. They got a branch in the State Department called the Office of New Americans. And it's all about illegals. They got an office in the goddamn State Department. What you got in the State Department? You ain't got a damn thing. And now the State Department done broke the offices down in every state and putting them in every city. Not for you, but for them. But for them. And what you got? Nothing. And they used to have this black guy singing this song. I got plenty of nothing. And nothing's all right with me. I got a woman, but she ain't nothing. And nothing is all right with me. Well, I'm saying nothing is not all right. We built this damn thing. And it's time for us to stand up. Doc, what's your thinking on giving these immigrants authority, giving them badges and guns now, and you gonna be the police? What's your thinking on that?
I mean, the thing for me is, and I guess I'm a bit old school. You know, I believe that you shouldn't be allowed to be an officer if you don't live in that community, and if that's not your people. If they are going to allow them to patrol their own people, then hey, y'all do what y'all do. But they're not going to do that. They're going to be patrolling us. They're going to have quote unquote authority over us. And, you know, it always boils back down to the same thing, to one of few things. And in this case, it's about solidarity and the fact that they're going to be politically powerful. Their numbers are formidable. They're more formidable than us. And with that comes some political cachet, if you got any sense. It's only black folk who had such a, 13% of the population and couldn't get absolutely positively nothing done. They're not going to do the same. No other group. Even the Jews, who have far fewer individuals than we do, have been as scatterbrained as we are, and have such political ineptitude in this sort of a kumbaya, we're all going to get along and go through the door together. Nobody else is trying to do it that way. Only our stupid leadership and our stupid people. I'm often aghast and wonder, where in the world are the black political scientists? Do we not study politics? And I yield.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doc. Sister Cassie?
Let me just give you guys some numbers of what's going on here. 500,000 just got, 500,000 people just got dropped off in America. Okay. 65,000 of them went to New York. 75,000 went to Chicago. We have to understand.
Whoa. Where the rest of them at?
Oh, you ain't, okay. They going to the other states. Okay. They going to Texas, Arizona. Okay. Come on.
They here in Texas.
We have to understand that didn't they drop 12 busloads off in Dallas the other day? Right? Remember when the Haitians came in 20 million they sit back. Okay, the Haitians aren't allowed over here. The Africans, you may see one or two, but you're not seeing 65,000 Africans. Okay, you may see a drop here and there that's squeezing in with the Afghanistans and the Venezuelans, I should say. Okay, but we're not concerned about this. With nobody, black folks sitting back like we're not gonna be affected by this. Y'all better wait. I told you I went to McDonald's, right? I just went for a drink of tea, and I'm in there and I'm looking around and I'm like, where the black folk at? Black folk don't work in McDonald's no more. Where we at? I talked to my girlfriend. She's a recruiter, and I asked her and I was talking, and she said, Cassie, I said, what's going on with the men? I'm not seeing a whole lot of men. Where are they working? She said, they're not hiring our black men. I said, what are they doing? Where are they working? We have black men with degrees that she's promoting to these different jobs, okay? They're not hiring them. Where are they working? Where are black men working? Where are black people working? Jobs that we used to, just like the construction jobs. We used to we used to be known for construction work, right? We're not working. They're not hiring us. Landscape, they're not hiring us. Where are we working, black family? We're not. So you're not concerned about this? You had a whole school. Now Chicago shut down. Well, how many schools? Several schools in the area, right? So now they re-renovated those schools. So you got immigrants living in those schools. Those are schools that they would not even fix up or renovate for black students, black children, right? But you have a whole group of immigrants that didn't even pay taxes, but they are living off of your taxes. You getting ready to shut down the government, right, in 45 days, right? But you just shipped money to Afghanistan, Ukraine, right? You got all this money because Chicago just got 50 million for the immigrants and getting ready to get some more. These are just for immigrants. That's not even including black folk that's living on the street. So the immigrants come in, black folk living on the street, but you got a whole school. So immigrants living upstairs over the school, but they go to school in the same building. So black folks aren't concerned about this. Do you not understand that corporate America, and this is what America's all about, corporate America, they getting ready to pay these people much or nothing to work your jobs. Black folk, if you don't get up and do something right now, we're going to be in trouble. Black Wall Street was not built on us voting. Black Wall Street was built on us pooling our monies together and supporting each other's businesses. That's how they got ahead in Black Wall Street. Them crackers wasn't getting their money. They was sharing it amongst each other. That's why they burned Black Wall Street down. So if we don't get it together, we're going to be in trouble. Now is your chance and your opportunity to start building these little communities, start buying some land and coming together and supporting your own. Because if you don't support your own, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. And I rest my mic.
That's right. You're going to be in trouble. And this, and where they're talking about, and we're going to watch this clip where a city councilman in Chicago is talking to his people. And, he wasn't being truthful. He wasn't being truthful with his people at all. And he's part of the problem. And so they want to come into our communities and take over abandoned schools and use these as shelters. In World War II, when the Germans invaded Russia and they was going from city to city, the Russians burned their own city down so that the Germans could not occupy it. And it was in the dead of winter so that the winter would kill off the Germans. And so I look at that and I say, shit, if we keep saying we don't want them there, but the political parties keep saying they come there, burn the goddamn building down.
Burn that bitch down.
Burn it down. So that they don't have no place to come. And then the people's voice is heard. Because all this yakety, they ain't listening. They ain't listening. Burn it the fuck down. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. This is the time that they're going to need to understand that we mean what we say. We mean what we are about. When we say no, we mean no. That's what we mean. But see, they look at you like you're dust. And dust in the way, we just move the dust on out the way. We spray it on out the way. What Jefferson say? Oh, they're incapable. They're children. They can't think for themselves. They can't act for themselves. They need us to think for them. They need us to do everything for them. Oh no. Oh no. See, we ain't the generation that's gonna beg you for shit. Please, Miss Officer, treat me right, do me right. Nah. Fuck that. Mm-mm. We will whoop your ass. It's just that simple. Because that's what you understand. That's what you understand. We got to begin speaking the language that they understand. We got to put fear in their ass to let them understand, oh, those black people, they mean what they say. We make those who are supposed to represent us, like I said, make them sign a contract that if you betray us, you give us the right to kill you.
That's right.
Let them know that we mean business.
That's right.
See, when the fake Jew sends somebody, they know that they're going to bow down and do what they say they're going to do. And you got to exercise that same kind of power. Make them do what they don't want to do. Make them. We ain't asking, we ain't pleading. We're going to make you. We're going to show you what real force is. And as Doc said about those elected ones, where are you at? Where are you at? We saw the mayor of New York in the beginning talk about, oh, this is New York, this is, we did the Statue of Liberty, and we're accepting all to come on and do this and do that. And now the nigga saying, it's too much. New York ain't gonna be New York no more. It's too much. What we gonna do? I don't know what we gonna do.
Won't
Damn,
get no help.
nigga, why you didn't stand the fuck up in the beginning? Why you didn't do right in the beginning? You allowed this shit to come to our door. See, this is what needs to be said. Tell them to their face. This is the time that it is. It's wartime. It's wartime. To hell with them. They are not the authority. We are the authority. We are the authority. And it's time for us to put them on their ass. I'm advocating this. Stand up and be a man, damn it. Our future depends on it. This is war. Sister Cassie, you're a female. What's your thoughts? I say this is war. What's your thoughts?
Oh, you already know how I feel. This is war. I was watching a movie the other night. Let me just share something with you. It was Bumpy Johnson, right? This is the gangster in New York. Okay, everybody know about Bumpy Johnson. 2 officers on the street in the movie disrespected him. You know what he did? Let me just share. 2 officers disrespected him, came into his club and shot up the club. He looked, he said, okay. He went to another gangster. He said, give me their names. He wanted to go to their houses. They wouldn't give it to him. So what he did, 2 of his gangsters held him up on the street and they took him to the basement, right? And they did what they need to do. So they got the 2 officers to give him a list of all of the dirty cops and plus their resignation. So he took the resignation to the chief and after he did what he needed to do, okay? And he gave their resignations in and the badges. And the chief said, hey, did you hurt my men? He said, and if I did, what you gonna do? Nothing. I thought so. See, we have to be brave. What are we doing? What are we waiting for? We're sitting up here looking at this stuff and it's getting out of hand. We at war. Do we not understand that? We've been at war, but we're doing nothing about it. We got to get up and stand up. We have to protect our families and we have to protect ourselves at any cost. I just saw on the news today where 2 immigrants was beating up on the police officers, right? They didn't get felonies, they got misdemeanors. If they were black, they would have been dead, right?
Right.
So what's going on here, family? Nobody's concerned with this. They can beat up an officer, you die, they get a misdemeanor. But you get jail time or death. But we're not worried about that. Okay, sit there. You better have your candy bar peanut butter, peanuts, I'll tell you that much. Don't leave home without it. You better fight and live to fight another day. But you can sit there and looking, oh, well, you know, let's bring them in. Because you hear black folk, let's bring them in. We're here to help everybody. You better help yourself. Because your ass going to be out in the cold in a minute. Because they already got your schools. So what else they going to have? Okay, sit there. I rest my mic.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Doc, what's your thoughts on this? You know, and as Sister Cassie pointed out, you know, and we want to show that clip that she's talking about as well. They can beat up the police and they get to live? What the fuck?
They would. They get to live. No felonies, no death, no jail. They get misdemeanors. Your ass would have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all go ahead and keep standing there watching. Go ahead, stand there. I'm done.
You know, in many ways, it's deja vu. When you go back and you look at World War I and World War II, you have black soldiers who are fighting on the side of America. And if a enemy were captured, that enemy would be able to go into the mess hall and eat. That enemy had more rights than black soldiers who were trying to substantiate themselves through a valorous display of patriotism. I look at these incidents and moments as no different, that there is something ingrained in this nation that blackness will always be denigrated, will always be stepped upon, will always be disrespected. And there are a host of reasons for this. And one of them is actually that black folk do not stand up for what is right. We have not set a standard of what is permissible in our neighborhoods, in our communities, but not just white folk and foreigners who are coming in, but also for black folk. One of the most ridiculous things that we have going on now is gentrification, that white folk will come into black neighborhoods, buy up homes, kick the drug dealers out, raise the value of the home by taking care of the home and remodeling it, rehabbing it, and what have you. Black folks should have been doing this a long time ago. But we've gotten to the point today. I was actually at a grocery store, and I've seen it before, and I'm sure that all of you have seen it as well. A young black child, and when I say young black child, I'm talking about 2-3 years old, sitting up in the top part where you put the bread and the eggs in a shopping cart, with a bonnet on her head. She got a bonnet, her mama got a bonnet, and all the other siblings walking around with bonnets on their head, bonnets and pajamas. There has to be a standard. There has to be an expectation. There has to be a demand. And until we can do that, you know, it's one of the reasons why I say that we're so far from being prepared to do anything serious. Some of us are ready to rock and roll, but so many of us don't have a clue about what's going on. As Sister Cassie put it, y'all better wake up. Y'all gonna get caught up out there. And I yield.
We don't have a choice. We're gonna have to be ready. The ones that are ready, we're gonna have to do what we need to do in order to save our lives. Because I'm gonna tell you what, I'm hoping and praying that we get ready quick. Once they see what's going on, maybe that's gonna draw black folk into getting ready. Because right now it's the time to get ready. We wasting a lot of time. We should be building generational wealth for our babies. We should be separating from these demons and devils. You already know what you're dealing with. And we sit up here begging them. Maybe one day these crackers give us a break. Maybe one day they're going to love us. Maybe one day they're going to do right by us. They ain't going to never do right by your asses. Never. They ain't going to never do right by us. So what are we doing? What are you waiting for? Like I told you, our ancestors did not separate us from them for us to come back together with them. Our ancestors set us up for life. They gave us our own communities, our own homes, our own bus stations, clinics, everything. What did we do? We thought we knew better than our ancestors, and we came back together with them because of one man that gave you a dream. And now you're still on the bottom. So whose dream was that? Where'd that dream come from? Because if it was a God's dream, we wouldn't be at the bottom.
That's right.
Something's wrong with that dream.
That's right.
But we sitting up here looking crazy now. We in a, what he said, I put my people in a burnt building, and we still in that burnt building, the building falling down around us, and we sitting there looking like, who gonna run out first? Well, I ain't going out there, but the building's burning down. Well, I ain't going out there because, you know, you got white folk out there, and boy, they ain't gonna do nothing but kill it. Then you dying inside the damn building. What are you doing? When you gonna fight? When you gonna fight your way out? What are we doing here for real? I rest my mic.
Good questions. Good questions. Doc, on the college campuses, this issue is not being discussed on there.
Which issue?
The issue of immigration with the illegals coming across the border, you know, some 6,000, 10,000 a day.
You know,
Not being discussed?
it's ironic that you bring that up. We have this, it's like a pre-law society. And it's the Gavel Society or something like that. And as I was walking in my building this past week, they had a program that they had scheduled where they were going to talk about immigration and immigration laws and what have you. But the problem that you're going to have on any college campus is that to resist immigration is to be painted as a Klansman or some type of supremacist. You're going to be looked at and painted in the same light as those white boys who are chanting with tiki torches, "You will not replace us." This is not an issue. It's very similar to the LGBTQ issue. It's not an issue that you can push back against, because to push back against it is going to really, garner the full whirlwind, not just the people who oppose you, but people who are afraid of those who oppose you, who will join in with them in kind of doing a witch hunt.
Sad. That's very sad. Very, very sad. You know, I want to go to Earth Angel Remix comment. She says that, I tried to find some black men to do some home improvement jobs, and I couldn't find one. And the older black men weren't willing to pass these skills on to younger men. And, this is so true. My grandfather could build houses. When we were coming up, we would always see him in his truck going to fix up on somebody's house or build this or build that. And damn, he didn't teach none of us how to do that.
Yeah.
He didn't teach none of us. I don't know how to build shit. Yeah. I got work that need to be done now, and I gotta look for somebody to do it when I know my grandfather could have did it himself. But he didn't teach me how to do it. And so now I'm wasting trying to find this right person, and it's like, damn, he knew how to do all of this and didn't teach us nothing.
One of the most reverberating warnings that we get from hip hop comes from X-Clan. X-Clan's lead rapper, a grand verbalizer, Funkin' Lesson Brother Jay. Is this great line where he says, "Ignorance is not a trend." And when you really think about it, all you need is one generation to be ignorant about the old way. And that old way can never be retrieved because it goes into the grave with our ancestors.
And I'm thinking about, even with the foundation, how I've been trying to find young boys, and we have different businesses that we can partner with. I can't. These young boys don't want to do nothing. They don't. And it's so sad because I've tried to partner with the high schools. I've tried to, even go into the high schools. The schools don't want the men in there because we already know why. But then you have the young boys that are graduating and sitting down doing what? Moms not even making them, attend. Moms aren't even making them get jobs. Moms aren't even understanding what their future, what their son's future are. They'll say, it's up to my son what he wants to do. It's like, well, when do you, have, okay, let's take this up to do this. That'll hold us until you decide what it is you want to do. But they're sitting on the sidelines just waiting. And I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? Let's get in here. Let's learn a trade. I have the people, I have the positions for you. Let's learn a trade. And they're like, They're not being forced. You know, I call them, they're supposed to go and don't go, and I call them, they're at home, and what are you doing there? Well, you know, I overslept. What are we doing as parents? What are we doing as women? What are we doing as parents? What are we doing as fathers to sit up here and allow our children that's 20 years old, 22, 23, still unemployed and no trade? Who's going to take care of them? Something happened to you. Something happened to you. You're in trouble. Your child 28 is still in your basement. Your child 30 is still in your basement. What the hell are we doing? What are we not doing here? What is going on? They're not learning a trade. They don't know how to fish. They don't know how to hunt. You don't know how to plant a garden. You don't know how to plant the farm. What the hell are we doing? Black family. What are we doing? How are you going to survive? Our children don't know how to do anything. Can they build a house? Can they work on a car? Can you change your brakes? Can you do an oil change? Can you do anything? The foundation is here to teach you all of this. And I can't even go into schools to get them. What you doing? Supposed to go to an appointment, oversleeping on appointments. What in the world? I'm just like, I'm scratching my head here. What do I need to do? How do I get you to come to the appointments? How do I get you to fill these positions that's going to teach you a trade for your future? There's no unction. There's no fire under their asses yet. There's no moment of like, I got to get this done. There's nothing. Well, I guess white folk, they waiting on white folk I don't know what they waiting on. I can't figure it out. So I'm just wishing somebody would help me to understand. How do we get a fire? How do we light a fire up on the black folk to understand that time is of an essence right now? Is what I need to be building. Right now is when I need to be creating generational wealth. Right now is when I need to be buying land so that I can get with these farmers. We have black farmers, right? How many of us know how to farm? I don't. How many of us know how to can? I don't. I would love to know how to can because we're going to need it. But there's no old people that know how. Who were the old folk that can tell me? My mom don't know how to can. Her mama knew. But they gone. So how do we learn this stuff? We have to begin to pass down stuff to our children, and we're not doing that. We have to pass these trades down, how to fish, how to farm. We have to, family. You waiting on, who said it's dangerous for a man to depend on another man for their breath, for their life, for every food? Who said that? Somebody. It's dangerous. We in a danger zone. We don't have no water companies. We have no fishing companies. We have barely a few black farmers. But when it really counts, what are we doing? We're not passing that on because don't nobody want to farm. No, they don't want to farm. They don't want to buy any chickens and hogs and cows. They don't want to do all that. We waiting on white folk to give it to us. Really? We in trouble. We are in trouble. And these colleges ain't teaching them what they supposed to. They ain't teaching our children jack nothing. No investments. No building, we in a dire emergency right now. I don't know what they learning. Calculus, what the hell you gonna do with that? I'm just saying, we need to learn how to invest. We need to know our history. We need to know how to farm, how to fish, how to hunt. How many men know how to hunt? I don't know how to hunt. If I did, I wouldn't even know how to cook it. I wouldn't even know how to peel it. We in trouble. I rest my mic.
Doc, when it comes to the college level, and are the administrators or the provost, whoever is in charge, do they assess the current state of Black America with what's going on in the world and where we need to be to secure ourselves 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now? Are they making these type of assessments and then saying this is the road that needs to be taken?
Not at all. Period. Not at all. And the truth of the matter is that at the present moment, the collegiate degree, unless you're going into something in the hard sciences, mathematics, engineering, computers, or something like that, you shouldn't even be on a collegiate campus. We don't need any more communications majors. We don't need any more juvenile justice majors. And I love Sister Cassie's nonprofit organization, because the truth of the matter is that one misstep for Black men, you'll never get on the main merging lane with the legitimate economic system of America. No one's going to hire you, because they don't want, number one, they already don't want Black folk there. Number two, they do not want someone who could be a potential liability to their company, and they get sued and what have you. So the most prudent and logical way forward is entrepreneurship, is learning a skill and doing what Booker T. Washington did, teaching you a little business acumen. Okay, if you learn how to be a plumber or electrician or what have you, and we teach you how to go get a loan, how to bid on jobs and things like that, hell, you got a business. And one of the tried and true rules of American capitalism is quite simply, you'll never get rich working for somebody else. And those are the messages that we need our especially our young men to be hearing, because quite simply, a man who does not make a sufficient amount of money in our society is not even marriageable. He can't take care of a family without proper finances coming in, and it's just what it is. So no, they're not paying attention to the HBCU in particular. The HBCU, it was never designed to create Black entrepreneurs, not in mass. It has been designed to create Black folk who have been trained, not necessarily educated, have been trained to go into some white corporation and eke out maybe a middle class living in existence for themselves. That's what it's been created to do and designed to do. It's not aimed at Black liberation, not at all. The only thing Black at most HBCUs is the cultural part, the social part. The curriculum's not Black. The reading lists are not Black. The advisement that they're getting is not Black. None of it is aimed at liberating Black folk. It's aimed at you getting a job, but you becoming the worker bee. And that's just what it is.
Wow. Now, I'm glad you said that, Doc, and I hope everybody heard you too. Because if you looking for your big break to come out of the HBCU, you looking for your savior, you looking for your uniter to come out of that, it ain't happening. Because they ain't making you. They're not producing you.
Well, I mean, you got to remember that HBCUs, like every other school, have to go through accreditation, and that's where their focus is, to make sure we can keep accreditation. And you got to meet that mark, and that marking is kind of like watching Jeopardy or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or The Weakest Link. You don't get no points because you know about Black people. You ain't getting no points and no props because you're trying to save Black people. And to be honest with you, you're not. We receive, if something occurs at a university, we receive communications and emails. Do not make a statement about it. Do not comment. Anybody that wants to hear a comment, send them to our HR or PR people. They're the ones that's going to speak on this. You're not to say anything.
Wow. Well, it's like I said, I think I said it last week. That talented 10th, that's you. It ain't coming from them. That's something that we have to take up, and we're going to be the ones that wind up carrying them on our backs. because they can't see it. Doc, let me ask you this before I go to the video part of the presentation.
Okay, before you say that, let me say this as well.
Okay.
There's something to be said that about it, you know, and I have 5 degrees. I have 3 masters and a PhD. And I can tell you from firsthand experience and also the observations of people I respect, that the more quote unquote education, the further that we get into the world of academia, save for a couple of us, very few of us, the deeper we get in there, the less useful we are to our people. Because your priorities have been hijacked. Now you got to focus on writing books. You got to focus on journal articles. You got to focus on conference presentations. And when you ask, I mean, just ask anybody. Ask yourself, when was the last time you went to an academic conference? Not never. When was the last time you went in and picked up a referee journal? Probably not never. And there is sort of an unspeakable, unspoken, that if it's popular amongst commoners, it's not good scholarship. That you should be writing in a way that they can't understand. They want us to talk about dialectical materialism. Now we know what that is, but 99.9999 of people don't. They ain't got no idea what you're talking about. You're talking about xenophobia, you know, dialectical materialism, you know, yeah. And
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
looking at the comment that said they're not being hired. Who's that? Earth somebody. These young men. Wait a minute, hold on. You had it up there, Brother Maurice. That they're not the skilled ones, the black guys with degrees. They're not hiring them. My girlfriend is working as a recruiter, and she said that she'll put them in for jobs, having degrees, coming from, you know, with experience. These corporate America, they're not hiring our black men. They'll hire them to make $16, $17, $15 an hour, but the $35 jobs going to Indians, going to everybody besides black folk, black men. And we got black men that's coming to the organization with degrees, with experience, and they still won't hire them. So this is, I'm telling you, if we as black folk don't come and create our own Black Wall Street, you guys, it was built by black folk coming, supporting black people, black owned businesses supporting each other. That's how Black Wall Street came into being. If we don't build our own Black Wall Street, who's going to give you a job? They're not hiring you. They're pushing you right out the market. What kind of work are you going to do when the immigrants come and get your little $12 jobs? What are you going to do? You better start now. Entrepreneurship. We got black folks. They have great entrepreneurship. They have gifts. Start using those gifts. If you can mow, get you a mowing company. If you can cut hair, get you a company going. If you we got to get it together to where we're supporting each other. If you have a product and another 5 of you have a product, create those small mom and pop shops together. Pull your monies together. If you can build a house, if you can do concrete, if you can do driveways, painters, electricians, come together. You got to start building this and pull your monies together and come up with a company. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, start pulling your monies together and creating your educational system, your dentistry system, your legal systems. Pull your monies together. You get, I've known black folk to get $12,000 for taxes. What do? You go out there and buy a TV, you go out, buy a car that's going to last 30 days. Start pulling those monies together, buy some land, start creating your own businesses. We can do this, family, but we're waiting for white folk to tell us what to do. They're not going to. Just like now, your home president, the man that you gave the highest seat, who did the most harm to black families, you gave him the highest seat, and he is stabbing you in the back, and y'all still making excuses for that creep, that dementia man needed in a damn nursing home. You making excuses for him. You won't even come up and understand. You're giving him a pass, but your own black brother, you'll shoot him in the back and then tell you, or you'll watch the police kill him and then tell the police, yep, you should have killed him. He shouldn't have did. What are you doing? What are we doing here? Make it make sense. You giving white folk a pass to kill you. You gave Biden a whole pass. I asked family members, I said, who are you voting for? Why are you voting for Biden? They said, I said, you know he did. Did you do your research? Yeah, that was 20 years ago. That's the answer they gave me. I said, well, what did he do within the 20 years to show you that he deserved your vote? They said, well, that's back in the past. That's now. Because he's not shown you, he's not done any, he's not wrong, he's not right his wrongs, right? He's not done anything to show you that I'm gonna make it up to you, black family. I'm gonna make it up to black folk. So you gave him a whole vote, knowing that he did the most harm to your children, your sons, your men, your brothers, your fathers. But that was okay. But then you won't even support your sister over here who's trying to support her family, and you won't even go and buy a cake from her. You'll rather go to get it from Walmart. This is the brain damaging, the Willie Lynch syndrome that black folk looking at. We in trouble. And if we don't get it together, y'all ass is gonna be eating out the garbage.
That's real. I want to go to one of Earth Angel comments where this one, and Doc, I want to ask you about this, where she says, I'm seeing my black men are not investing in themselves. I met this young man trying, looking for work. I needed help too. I supplied the saw and paid him a day's work to cut a branch down, instructed him on how to cut the tree branches from research. So she had to research it and then teach him how to do it, tell him how to do it, and paid him. But the key thing in there, and Earth Angel did an excellent job. I really appreciate what you did. But the key thing for me, Doc, is she said that they are not investing in themselves. When you're dealing with the black men and boys in college that you're finding in class, are they investing in themselves? Do you see that they have a light in themselves that's ready, not just that's ready for the service of their community and for the service of themselves? Do you see that spark in them that as a teacher that you expect to see from black males?
Very rarely. Very rarely. One of the things that has progressively grown worse, and it's at an epidemic level right now. I don't have a class, and keep in mind, I usually lecture to 80 to 100 people. I don't have a class that has more than, and I teach 3 right now, I don't have a class that has more than 4 black men in it. The rest of them are women. Now I'm sure that some of that has to do with attendance issues or what have you, but towards your question, no, it's very rare to come across black men who are focused on what it is that they should be focused on. They play, they run around, they do all of this. They are mama's boys. That's what they are. They've been coddled and raised in a single female-headed household usually. The mother has made sure their clothes were laid out, that the food that they were going to eat was prepared for them. Whereas the sister, she was actually raised and expected to do some things with her life. The boys have been, John Jawanza Kunjufu said it beautifully. He said single black women tend to raise their daughters and love their sons. And I can think back to my upbringing. I can tell you, look here, my mama loved me. My aunts loved me. My family has a story that says, quite simply, I never crawled as a baby. That I could sit there and I could point with my finger. And because I was the first male grandchild, and one of my aunts would jump up and would pick my fat ass up and carry me to where I was pointing at. Thank God my daddy was there. Okay, and to this day, me and my daddy ain't best friends. We'll never. How you have a father son that's got that close relationship? We ain't got that. There's a lot of animosity from this side on to him. Okay, because going from the coddling and treatment that I got from my mother and all of my aunts to dealing with that motherfucker who who didn't give me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Not even a ride here and there. You gonna figure it out. And but in hindsight, I recognize what he was doing. I don't look for anybody to help me. I don't rely upon anything. I got to take care of this myself. That came from my daddy, because his thing was, you can't even rely on me because I'm out for you, and so that's the piece so often that's missing when you come across unfocused, lackadaisical Black males. They ain't had a father that can go ahead and put his foot up in their ass until they come across and they run across me, and I don't love them. I got love for them. But if you can't get this paper turned in on time, the hell with you. I don't have time to raise you. And so what we have are a bunch of grown African-American boys who are just running amok. So no, I don't see it. I see it very rarely. But when I do see it, I grab that one and I work with him independently, one-on-one. And I can tell you honestly, right now, I don't have a single one that I'm working with one-on-one. I have one that I got my eye on. And the reason I got my eye on him is partially because he is a foster child who has aged out of the system. But you can tell he has a level of maturity that is way above his classmates.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to share screen and look at a few of these video clips that we have, and so we can discuss them. And before I do that, I want to deal with, because I want to deal with this comment that Earth Angel says. My views doesn't mean I hate others, but I need to help my own first. Now, last night, Doc, when we were discussing it, and I said that when it was brought up about the Africans that were coming, and I said very strongly that they need to stay in their own country, not to come here illegally. We received a few messages saying, well, but they're Black people, so you should want them in America. And I want to be very clear about my position on this, is that you have your own country. Nigeria, Ghana, you got your own land. Make it the best that it can be. Don't come over here to a land where those in authority hate you. Don't do it. You're wasting your time. Because you may meet that deadly cracker that's looking to kill you. Don't do it. Stay where you are. See, I'm telling you straight. That's love. That's real love. That ain't hate. That's love. Stay where you are. Make your country the great country it can be. Because you come over here to America and you want to make America great because you believe it's going to make you great. That's a fallacy. That's not real. You will do better by you and your family making your country great. Even if it means you got to overthrow those who are there that's in power, that's bowing down to the cracker. Overthrow their ass. Simple as that. It is better for you to do that than to come here and be mistreated. It is better. for you to be on your own land than coming here and to be treated less than a human being by people who are not even fucking humans themselves. It is better. And that is black first. That is black first. Sometimes you may not agree, but hell, you better be able to deal with it because it's truthful. If I was living in Ghana, if I was born in Ghana, I wouldn't be looking to immigrate to America. My thing would be fuck America. I want to make where I'm at great. I want to make where I'm at so powerful that what they did to us, we can do to them. We can get revenge on what they did to us. Fuck them. Don't look at America as America is your God. And you want to come and bow down to America so America can make you what you could never be. No. No, your view is skewed. Your thinking is skewed. America, in all honesty, is a shithole country. America. You think about it. America don't just consist of the United States of America, but they take it over like it is the end all and be all. No, that ain't true. That's just not true. The arrogance of them when they couldn't get a damn thing by themselves. The arrogance of them. And it was you who gave America what these crackers couldn't give themselves. You gave it to them. And then they snatched it away from you. No. You better look to make your country the great country it can be. Because this, it ain't about you. Doc, what's your thinking on that? You've been to African countries. What's your view?
My view about what? I mean, give me a
the view about, because I like I said today, no, stay in your country. You don't need to come here and think you're going to be all that you could never be in your country. Stay where you are and make your country great.
Yeah, I side with Dr. John Henry Clark when he said quite simply that you'll never be free until Africa is free. We need the Africans to go ahead and get their minds straight and to take control of what I term the only continent that God truly long-term French kissed. Everything that you need to make it in the world is found in the soil of Africa. There's no doubt about that. We need for the African to educate himself with an independent black education. We need the African to kind of divest from the West and the values of the West and what the West has even taught them about diasporic black folk. So it's not that I don't think that they should be welcome here, but there's so much work for them to do in their native land to straighten out the centuries old problems that they have. And one of the things that probably would go a good measure for them, and this is sort of a different way of looking at what it is that you're talking about, is they need to begin to offer dual citizenship to African Americans, because we have many of the skills that they desperately need to rebuild their nation.
Thank you, Doc. Sister Cassie, what say you?
Well, I believe when I was there, I would talk to a few of them because I've been to several. And last year, went to 5 different continents and began to talk to them just to understand why were they coming over here. And a lot of their family members that are here are lying to them and telling them that here is this, and this, giving them the smoke screen. So it's making America look good to them. So they want to come, not understanding the dangers of that we're really going through. Okay. So we have to understand, and I've been telling them and talking to them, and I said, why aren't you building up your own country? I said, you have a whole black country But you come to America, same thing you said, you're going to come to America and get abused, and they're going to work the hell out you. You could stay home, stay there, and build your own company, invest, and we as Americans, it wouldn't hurt for us to find a couple of Africans that to help them to invest in their country, so that you can build up their country and you'll have an investment going. Because just like Doc said, we have something that they could teach us, and we have something that we could teach them, and of course we can learn from them, because they're keeping their families together, and they're but we fail to realize that Africa, I keep telling you, Africa is coming along. There, you got Burkina Faso, and then you can have the Niger, and they're coming together, and they're coming up with they've come up with an agreement that they're going to protect each other. I've never seen Africa do that. These African continents have never protected or came to protect each other, and now they're doing it. So something is happening in Africa. They're pushing out the French, and they're pushing out the Dutch, and they're pushing out and others will follow. But we have to understand, Africa is the now, and this is a great time to invest. If you want to go over there and do some importing, exporting, this is a great time to do it. Investment, buying land. White folk over there buying up land that you should be buying up. Land over there, $600, $1,000, just depending on where you buy it and what country you get it in. So, sky's the limit. If you have an idea, business idea, take it to Africa. It'll work, because they need everything. The whole system is jacked. So they need internet. If you know how to do the internet, go over there and upgrade their internet. It's a need for internet. If you know how to do infrastructure, like their roads need to be done. Write a contract with the government that you'll pave the roads. So there are things over in Africa that actually we could be over there doing even right now and making some money. So I pass the mic.
Definitely. All right, thank y'all. Now we're going to go and check out this video while our time is running. Let's see.
Migrants arrive in Chicago as concerns grow over lack of housing and overcrowded police stations. Sources telling WGN several migrants have now been involved in altercations with officers. We begin there this afternoon. Good afternoon to you. I'm Lourdes Duarte.
And I'm Ben Bradley. Thanks for joining us. As many as 4 migrants are now facing criminal charges. They're accused of threatening, even hitting Chicago police officers in the last 2 days.
WGN's Julian Cruz is live at the Harold Washington Library, where he was trying to get answers from the mayor today. Did he have anything to say, Julian?
Well, Lourdes, he did not appear here at this event. According to a Chicago Public Library press release, he was scheduled to attend a community event here this afternoon. So far, at least, no sign of the mayor, who has yet to speak out on the matter either to City Hall beat reporters or in a written statement. 12th District Chicago police officers about 6:20 this morning dealing with an increasingly tense situation, taking 2 alleged offenders into custody. Police sources identifying the offenders as migrants. News Affairs calling the individuals in question offenders. The first individual allegedly taking property from the district, attempting to flee, we're told, while a second migrant allegedly battered a responding officer who sustained minor injuries, police say, transported to an area hospital in good condition.
The police need to feel secure in doing their jobs. They need to feel secure in the space that they're in.
Vice Mayor and 27th Ward Alderman Walter Burnett reacting to the alarming news, though he's not familiar with the details, he says. Others at City Hall expressing concern.
I think what we're seeing is a decrease in the conditions at the police districts. We're now at nearly 2,000 individuals across the 22 districts across the city of Chicago, and we are losing control.
2 other violent or threatening incidents reported yesterday involving 12th District migrants, according to sources, raising concern about what appears to be an untenable situation. The trouble starting 9:45 yesterday morning. Juan Marquez Viena, 20 years of age, arrested and charged, according to News Affairs. Viena now facing one misdemeanor count of criminal trespass to property, and one misdemeanor count of assault. About 4 hours later, more tensions. Ana Rondon, 20 years of age, arrested and charged with one misdemeanor count of battery against a 12th district officer. We tried several times today to reach Mayor Brandon Johnson for comment. Aldermen we talked to anxious to hear a more detailed plan to address what many, including Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, has called a long-term crisis. Now, migrants at the 12th district talking to us off camera, and they say starting after Labor Day, they were woken up at 5 a.m. and they say that they were forced to leave the building with their belongings standing out on the sidewalk for hours. And they say that when they went back into the building, that there was no discernible sign that there had been any sort of cleaning at all. Harold Washington Library, Julian Cruz, WGN News.
So we can see just from listening to that the migrants already have in their mindset that we're going to fight. We're not going to go down quietly. We will do what need to be done, period. Now, when you go through trauma, when you go through a hard situation, it builds bonds between the people that go through. Now, these migrants travel far distance through the damn desert and everything, going through barbed wire and everything to make sure each of them survive. So they come through that, they get through here, and you think one of them get out of line or to get something with the police, you don't think that the other one gonna jump in there to the aid of that other migrant? They're gonna fight together because they've already built a bond together just to get here. So it ain't gonna be no, oh, it's just gonna be a fair one getting on. It ain't gonna be none of that. It's gonna be a fight to the death. And see, I want you to understand that you're gonna have to kick some ass. And this is the reality. Because they already coming with a mindset that they're better than you. I think it was Earth Angel was saying that her neighbor, saying that her neighbor blasting all this loud ass music. Like they didn't gotta be respectful of the neighborhood that the people already living here. Or you just gonna do your thing? No. You gotta wake up now and you gotta assert your power, your authority, your dominance. Then you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. This is what it's about. And you better get ready. It's on. It's on. Sister Cassie, you want to add anything about this video?
They not scared. They coming over here and they showing these police officers that guess what? I'm not taking nothing from you. They're doing over here what they do over there. Because my daughter lives in Mexico and I go over there and I'm listening and they out all time of the night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they got the music and they don't go to bed and they all out. And they're doing the same thing here. So this is why Eric Adams in New York said New York is going to be destroyed. New York is done. You already seen the woman with the rats on the rotisserie thing. Did you see the video of that? But the woman had the rats on the rotisserie. She cooking rats. New York, big old giant rats. She cooking them. And they got them on the rotisserie. What in the world? But this is, hey, we got to get ready. And guess what? Black folk, they're going to be fighting you too. What you going to do? You got white folk fighting you. Now you got immigrants fighting you. What you going to do? Get your ass beat or you going to fight back? What you going to do? I'm just waiting to see. The first person that hit a black person, what they going to do? What you going to do? I rest my mic.
That's right. That's right. Doc, you got any comment?
No, not really. I mean, it's You're dealing with people who are coming from the old country, and the way they live their lives, one could argue, is barbarian, uncivilized, unrefined, uncultured. That doesn't just go away. That doesn't go away in one generation. Probably ain't gonna go away in 3 or 4. So America has a problem, and for the first time, that problem isn't solely Black folk.
Wow.
They ain't seen nothing yet. I'm glad. I can't wait. I got my popcorn. I'm just watching. I'm watching. America think they doing something. They getting ready to. They have dug themselves in a ditch. And these crackers ain't ready for the mix. They ain't ready for them. Because they gonna fight. They gonna fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's check out this video.
Despite all of the concertina wire that is along the riverbank here, this is an area where just at the bottom of that bank is difficult to see from this particular vantage point. But there's been a group of about 50 or so migrants who've been waiting for hours, and they've now just started crossing through the concertina wire, literally dragging each other underneath it and turning themselves into authorities. We keep asking many of these migrants why they're doing this at this particular time, because the penalties for crossing like this is deportation, much more severe penalties for crossing through this. And they say many of them, what we hear over and over from them is that they have been waiting for months and months trying to get through what is known as the CBP-1 application process. And that is supposed to create an orderly way of people waiting in Mexico, applying and getting an appointment to apply for an asylum case. Local authorities who also say that they think that one of the reasons why you're seeing this surge here in the last few days is because of cartel human smuggling operations.
So there, as you can see them going through the barbed wire, crossing over the water, and the police out there just watching them coming on over. And that bond that they're building contributes to why they're why they're one, why they're unified. Because they're going, as Doc said, coming from an old country, coming in here, they've come through rough parts of the water. And so they're going to be even more unified once they get to quote unquote freedom, once they get to the land that they were looking to achieve. So trust and believe they're not coming here to carry nobody's water. They're coming here to assert themselves because they believe this is their right. Let's check this out.
Crossing into the U.S., most immigrants are processed and then released, making their way to large cities in hopes of finding more people from their home country who speak their language and hopefully finding some kind of work. Here in Chicago, for months, migrants have been in shelters or, unfortunately, because of overcrowding, inside of police stations, simply sleeping on the floor in lobbies. The city of Chicago shelling out millions of dollars on new winterized tent facilities. In the Windy City, yeah. As Kelsey is reporting now, it's what comes with those tents that's raising some questions. Kelsey?
Adrienne, there really are a lot of opinions about what is happening in Chicago right now. We know the new mayor announced plans to build tent cities for migrants about 2 weeks ago. But now we are learning that a more than $29 million contract was signed by the city to build these tent facilities. And what is being accommodated to these migrants under this new deal was oftentimes not available to some Chicago residents.
My plan is to move with expediency families out of police stations into housing and shelter that's more suitable.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson bringing tent cities to the Windy City, where roughly 7,000 asylum seekers are spread out across nearly 24 temporary shelters. Last week, the mayor signed a deal with Garda World to build at least 6 new tent facilities. The contract, uncovered by News Nation's Chicago affiliate, WGN, laid out what accommodations the company must provide. Each facility will hold between 250 and 1,400 asylum seekers. Garda World will also supply bedding, laundry, showers, 3 meals a day, and security. The contract also calls for several benefits that Chicago residents don't necessarily receive, including all-day childcare 7 days a week, as well as vans to take migrants to school, doctor appointments, and community resources.
We're only doing crisis to crisis. And I've said that this is not a game of whack-a-mole. This has to be a long-term, thought-out process.
The contract also requires temperatures inside the tents to be at least 70 degrees if the outside temperature hits 40 degrees.
I could only imagine what's going to happen trying to keep an outdoor tent warm in Chicago in the winter, when we know that single digits will be the norm come January and February.
A spokesperson for the city of Chicago telling News Nation that this contract was signed in conjunction with the state's disaster proclamation to quickly move the nearly 1,500 migrants currently staying at police stations. But so far, it's still unclear where these facilities would be located and when they would open.
I just checked, and the city of Chicago is expected to spend more than $255 million caring for migrants by the end of the year. Nick?
Wow, Kelsey, this is definitely a story we will keep an eye on.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
So there you have it. Getting more things that you definitely don't. 24-hour free childcare. 24-hour free childcare.
That's not even talking about the checks that they're getting. Somebody said them devils, when they come, they get $7,000 plus $2,500 a month. Can you imagine that? I wish I can get that. God. You're not even talking about the money. But like somebody said, follow the money. Who's got those contracts? That's why white folk ain't mad, because they're getting all those contracts to help those immigrants. Okay. They getting all those contracts. So that's why white folk ain't saying nothing. They getting rich off of this. Black folk ain't getting nothing. We can't get reparations. We can't get nothing. We can't get retirement. Retirement of what? $1,000, $1,500, under $2,000. But you got immigrants getting a whole $7,000 per family member and $2,500 a month. That's crazy. That's but this is money. This is our money coming out of our taxes that you can't get. Our families can't even get 7 days a week child care.
Exactly.
But you got all of this come with, you got what? Laundry, security, food, heat. You getting ready to live outside of Chicago. Do you guys know how cold it gets in Chicago? We're talking below zero weather. I used to live in that Indiana area. Oh, it gets cold as hell. And you getting ready to live outside in the tent. Okay. I want to see how that one gonna go. This is gonna be real exciting. But there go our reparations. Oh, we're gonna get reparations, whether you like it or not. We're gonna get it. It's written. These devils got getting all your money. And then the Chicago Mirror came back and won it 50 more. Got 50,000 and now want 50 more. But won't give black folk nothing. Close all your black schools. Now you open them for immigrants. Ain't that and renovated them. And black folks sitting around doing nothing. I'd have burned them bitches down. I'm telling you, I'd have burned every last one of them.
That's right.
You gonna let them have it? You can't have it, but you gonna sit there and let them have it? You done lost your mind. We deserve what we get right now. I'm sorry. You deserve. Black folk deserve everything they're getting right now. You sit there and just sit there and watch it. I don't feel sorry. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for y'all no more.
What is this about the two black girls, or a black girl got beat in high school? What? I haven't heard nothing about that. Earth Angel and Nothing But the Truth. What? Y'all have more information? Where was this at? What happened? You know, we got to be on it. We got to be on it. You know, and like you said, Sister Cassie, we paying for it. It come out of our tax dollars. It's coming out of our tax dollars. It's time for a change. Doc, what's your thoughts on the video we just watched?
The thing for me is quite simply this, that You want to be for the idea of fairness and righteousness. Yet at the exact same time, you recognize that being the nice guy will in many ways lead you to being the one that is left out. Everybody has a public face that they espouse, but behind closed doors, different groups, ethnicities, whatever you want to call sexual orientation and what have you, become very, very, very persnickety, very uncaring, very selfish. Black folk have yet to arrive at the point where they are collectively understanding how to stand together and what they should be doing in regards to standing together. One would hate to think that the suggestion of burn the school down would be an acceptable one. But in many ways, what other move do you have if you're trying to get someone's attention and you're being very serious about this? Because Black political leadership has once again failed you. And these are Black folk that Black folk have put in to protect their interests, to advance their interests, and once again they fumble the ball. So it's par for the course, to be honest with you. Black folk are being maligned, mistreated, disrespected, and forgotten when we're talking about anything positive. Everything negative, we get more than a heaping share of that. So I yield.
We have to change the realities that we are in. And it's obvious, as Doctor said, is not being dealt with on the collegiate level. If change is going to come, it's going to come from our level, and we're going to force it all the way up. There's no way in the world that, one thing is this, and I believe this is the realm of thinking that they're using, because the white numbers here are dying. So they want to bring in, let these Mexicans and them come on in and claim them, make them white. And just so to keep their numbers up and keep their way going the way that it is.
Exactly.
And see, we can't allow that.
Mm-hmm.
We can't allow that.
They consider them white.
And we're not going to allow them to just run amok and do whatever it is that they want to get done. We can't do that. But we are at our time, and I'm going to nothing but the truth. I'm going to look that up about the 100 Black mayors for illegal immigrants, so I can see exactly what that is going on. But I want you all also to make sure that you check to see if your city has an office of the New Americans. See if your city has an office of that. And there's things that we need to get done because they need to hear from you. We're not going to allow them to write their story the way that they want to write it. Like they did something, like they built something. No, it's not going to go down that way. And so we got work to do, but I'm going to research that so I can look it up so I can have more information on it. But we got to stand up because, as I said, this is war. It's here. It's here. We're going to go move to closing comments. Sister Cassie, your closing comments?
You know what? Right now, we've been talking, Brother Maurice, we talk and we talk and we talk. And right now, I'm so tired of talking. I'm ready for Black folk to move, make some moves. It's time for us to rise up globally to stop this madness. Because the more we sit, the more they're building. The more we sit back, the more that they're coming together. The more that they're giving them money. When are we going to do what we need to do? Because this is getting ridiculous. And I'm looking I'm looking for the Office of New Americans. It's a Department of Labor and Employment. I'm looking at that now. And I'm like, what can I do as far as in my area about it? What can we as Black people do? And we need to be visiting those offices, we need to do something. Right now, we just sitting back like no care, not a care in the world. And you are just allowing them to stack the decks against yourself. And we are our own worst enemy right now, because we see what they're doing and we say nothing. We do nothing. We say nothing. We just let stuff go. When do we rise? When do we say something? When do we march? When do we burn shit down? When do we do anything? This is just getting, I don't know if this in the food or what, but I'm lost for words. I don't even know what to say right now, because we do nothing. We see that we're in danger. We're in danger. Where black folk gonna go? We gonna be in those tents in a minute? What? Because homeless shelters are, there's no homeless shelters. The immigrants got them all. So if you lose your house right now, where you gonna go? They gonna let you in those tents? Where we gonna go? What, you gonna live beside the tents? Well, we gonna have a lot across the street with no tents? We gonna be outside in the cold? What are we going? What are we doing here? What are we doing? We're not building. We're not setting stuff aside. We're not investing. We're just watching. We're waiting on white folk to tell us it's okay to kick some butt. We're waiting on white folk to tell us what? They're not going to tell you anything. They hope and pray that you don't get it. Don't wake up. Wait till the last minute. Let us bury you. Then you're going to be in a coffin. What? Then you're going to wake up? Come on. We're the 911 now. Time is of an essence right now. And we better get busy, because I'm not liking what I'm seeing. And I sure need an army right now. So the ones of us ready, let's fight. We got to do something. I'd rather die for changing my situation than die for not. I rest my mic.
Definitely. Thank you, Sister Cassie. Doc?
To follow what the dear sister said, educate yourself, organize yourself, and operate from a position of courage, strength, and honor. That's the only way forward. We have to outplan them, out-strategize them, out-serious them. And anything other than that is foolishness. And I yield, brother.
Thank you, Doc. And I'm going to study this issue more and see about these 100 mayors and come up with an agenda, a plan of action that we must take. And we're going to implement this plan of action. And I've told you all when I was back in Nashville that I said that I will lead you into battle. That I will lead you into battle. And that's what time it is. We don't need to worry about what the white man think. Fuck what they think. Don't worry about what they're not going to try to hear us. To hell with that. Because we're going to make all the curtains tremble. We're going to make them all come straight down. It is time now that they understand that we ain't playing. It is time now for us to take our rightful place. It is time now for us to drain the swamp, to clean it up, to kick those bastards out, and to take our spot. This is the time. We were born in this world for battle. And it's time to let's get it. So you've been hearing for years, get ready, get ready. Well, it's here now. It's here now. We will be devising a plan of action, because this action is what is necessary for us to secure our future. This is where we are today. And it ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. We can't look back and say Malcolm or Martin or Garvey. We on this deck today. We are on scene today. So it is about what we do today. And we're going to handle this business. I promise you that. It's our time. So as we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first. Today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
Peace.
So you better get the message. and get it straight.
You're gonna need some bridge work. It's simple as that.
Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.